Greetings, my name is Meredith Thomas, and this presentation will explore the impact of dispositions of teaching and learning. In this presentation, I will discuss the dispositions and give examples of why they are an important aspect of teaching and learning. I'll discuss strategies for developing dispositions that support a growth mindset and social emotional learning for teachers and students, strategies for cultivating students' collaborative dispositions. I'll explain how dispositions toward technology can affect integrating technology into teaching and learning, and a strategy for shifting teachers' dispositions. I'll give 4 strategies educators disposed to inclusivity can implement in their classrooms, and I will give recommendations for enhancing collaborative dispositions with colleagues, caregivers, and community members. What are dispositions? Dispositions are characteristics and personality traits that reflect a person's values and belief systems. It is critically important to hone in on which educator dispositions are most likely to lead to a classroom environment where students feel emotionally safe and engaged in learning. These dispositions can influence student motivation and outcomes in a learning environment because learning occurs in a social construct. An interaction between teachers and students in the classroom can create an environment where students feel uninhibited and free to learn. Teachers can foster the safe learning space through pedagogical practices in addition to social interaction with the class. There are various ways to classify and describe teacher dispositions. For example, according to Stevens, these are 2 of many different perspectives of culturally responsive dispositions. On the left, we see the broad categories of teacher behaviors, teacher attitudes, and teacher perceptions. The triangles on the right show the more abstract values and virtues that guide teacher dispositions. Jensen et al. Identified 5 multicultural dispositions that affect student cultural diversity. These are dispositions that support an environment where students feel safe and supported. These 5 multicultural dispositions also support educators who are working to address the education and opportunity gaps which diverse students experience. Empathy is the educator's ability to see the classroom and learning through the eyes of the students. The willingness to see strength in differences and to avoid judgment based on privilege. Meekness, or humility, is the educator's ability to stay open to learning from their students and their students' families. The willingness to stay open and seek to appreciate diverse opinions and ideas. Social awareness is the next disposition. Educators who are aware of and accept the wide range of experiences different from their own. The capacity to critically examine currently held beliefs and assumptions, and a willingness to adjust and form new, more accurate understandings. Inclusion is the disposition educators embrace who seek to learn about what students want and need from the classroom, the willingness to do more to improve the opportunities available to all. The final disposition is advocacy. Educators who are advocates are capable of confronting injustices, the willingness to connect the curriculum to relevant issues in students' lives and feel a personal sense of responsibility to advocate for social change. Teacher dispositions support student development of these 16 habits of mind, which promote an attitude toward lifelong learning. Educators can help students develop these habits of mind by fostering a growth mindset in students while supporting their social and emotional learning. Teachers can develop dispositions that support a growth mindset and social emotional learning by engaging in reflective practices while implementing teaching strategies that connect educators to their students. These activities cultivate self-awareness, self-management, and relationship skills through modeling. For example, teachers can give written words of encouragement to students. Educators can model goal setting through the use of a goal-setting log or advanced organizer, and teachers can build student rapport by praising effort and acknowledging student successes while supporting students as they embrace mistakes as part of the learning process. Teachers can cultivate a growth mindset and social emotional learning in students by promoting positive self-talk through classroom visual aids, written words of encouragement, or engaging students in a written activity where students write the words of encouragement to an imaginary classmate. When teachers acknowledge student victories, they bolster self awareness and build relationship skills in their students. And when teachers learn with and from their students, they can model perseverance and show students how to learn from mistakes. Engage students in collaborative opportunities where they can develop social awareness, self awareness, and relationship skills. Facilitate global collaboration by creating cooperative learning groups, developing communication norms, and providing timely feedback. Create a safe space for students to take risks and make mistakes. Allow students to set their learning goals and work toward achieving them. And finally, ensure rigor and complexity vary throughout the lesson and empower students with the tools and resources they need to pursue their own learning. Global collaboration occurs when teachers integrate technology effectively into their lessons. Advocates of blended learning embrace technology as a key to critical thinking. Teachers with dispositions of empathy and inclusion can still struggle to merge technology into already effective lessons. While student growth is the primary objective, technology is secondary. Online and blended education promote exploration and decision making, enrich learning opportunities, and encourage collaboration among students. Figure 6 shows a familiar concept with a digital twist. The idea is to encourage students to develop self-management and relationship skills by asking them to turn to one another as a source for the answer before coming to a teacher for help. Provide students with an opportunity to become empowered learners who develop safe web searching skills and understand when and how to use the plethora of information available to them by asking students to find the answer to their questions using the digital tools available to them. Integrating technology effectively cultivates self-awareness in students while presenting opportunities for students to become critical thinkers, creative communicators, and independent learners. Instead of the traditional written response on a word processing document, allow students to feel represented in their learning. They can create an infographic using Google Drawings or a slide deck highlighting the main points. Some students would enjoy the challenge of integrating formulas or graphs using a spreadsheet, or students may best represent their understanding of the material by making a video screencast or drawing a concept map on paper after watching the video prompt online. To boost critical thinking, educators can add the constraint of allowing students to choose each medium a maximum number of times. Giving students choices in how they wish to express what they learned through a medium that works for them affords students a sense of ownership and agency in their learning. It helps students become creative communicators and build self-awareness as they learn how to use different media to express their ideas. While integrating technology supports students in acquiring critical habits of the mind, inclusive educators seek to understand what students need to learn the material and adapt appropriately. Inclusive educators understand that student growth is not always vertical. When the teacher is mindful and inclusive of student learning needs, the teacher can adapt so that the students can benefit from the teacher's guidance. Some strategies teachers can employ to achieve this are to create a classroom environment to support the learning needs of all students by breaking barriers to learning, by integrating technology, and by presenting information to students in multiple formats. Differentiate instruction through varied assignment prompts. Allow students to engage with their learning by offering students choices in how to respond, and model inclusive behavior by listening to students and facilitating collaborative activities. Educators exhibiting the multicultural dispositions to support student learning are strong advocates for students and their learning. When communicating outside the school's walls, advocates find ways to connect the curriculum to relevant issues in the students' lives and speaking up for the students when confronting social or other injustices. When collaborating with colleagues, caregivers, and community members, approach communication in an inclusive and supportive way by breaking language or culture barriers, approach conversations with an open mind, and be sure to listen carefully and fully comprehend what the stakeholders are adding to the conversation. In this presentation, we discussed the impact of dispositions on teaching and learning. Dispositions are important aspects of teaching and learning. Dispositions support a growth mindset and social emotional learning. Teachers can facilitate students' collaborative dispositions through engagement, representation, and student expression. Technology breaks barriers to learning while offering students and teachers a vehicle for enhanced creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication. Teachers can find simple ways to incorporate small shifts toward embracing more technology in the classroom. Educators disposed to inclusivity differentiate instruction, model inclusivity, break barriers to learning, and allow student agency in their learning. Collaboration with colleagues, caregivers, and community members is most successful when educators advocate for students following the 7 norms of collaboration. This concludes my presentation on the dispositions of teachers and learners. Thank you for listening.